Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, February 13th, 2025. I'm James Spencer. It's Valentine's Day Friday. Don't forget. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, homebrewer Scott Housel shares a beer with an out-of-this-world surprise as a response to his Mash Your Luck challenge. Adam Ross of Twin Span Brewing and author Chris Colby helped me to evaluate it. And Scott takes the plunge again to roll the virtual dice for another round. If you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing, and many thanks to everybody who's helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter. And many thanks to the new Patreon subscribers who are signing up every week. Your help is very much appreciated. Financial supporters have already seen the episode I'm planning to release to the public on Friday, along with the recipe for that beer and a behind-the-scenes video as well. This is the beer where Steve Wilkes tasted it and had kind of a surprising response. We taste my tart little session beer with the cherry flavor and the cacao nib tincture based on sort of inspired by Black Forest cake. You know, my taste buds must be dulling with age because I didn't think it was that super tart, but I may have been outvoted. I used lactic acid to sour that beer, and I've said on the show that I'd never used lactic acid to do that before. But while rummaging around looking for chemicals in my brewing stuff this past weekend, I came across an opened bottle of lactic acid. I have no idea how old it is. It's got an old label. So apparently, sometime in my past, I have used lactic acid for something. I don't know. Do you guys remember? I certainly don't. I feel like I'm on the show Severance. What has my innie been doing? Well, I'm not around. The reason I was rooting around in my tub of ingredients was that I brewed my Bock on Saturday. This is the beer that we formulated on this past week's show. I actually remembered to alter the water chemistry. That's why I was looking around for stuff. The brew day went very well. The morning started out at around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 C. But by the afternoon, the temperature had dropped to around 45, or 7 C. That probably helped in my chilling down to lager pitching temperature. I pitched at 55 degrees Fahrenheit, or 13 C, and that's at the upper end of the recommended temperature range for L18 Goat, the seasonal yeast from our friends and sponsors at Imperial Yeast. L18 Goat is Imperial's seasonal Bavarian lager yeast. Goat's available now, obviously. It's said to be the Ayinger strain, and it's known for balancing complex malt character with hop flavors and aromas. I did dust off my stir plate and make a 2-liter starter for this beer since it started at 1066. Insert Battle of Hastings references here. And I fermented so chilly that I did want to make sure that I had enough yeast to get the job done. However, you know, I think I could have gotten away with not doing a starter maybe. The starter was very active within a couple of hours and started to flocculate the next morning. It's those 200 billion cells in each easy-to-open package of Imperial yeast. My airlock was not bubbling before bedtime. It was, however, bubbling before breakfast. You know, I have to admit I was a little nervous when I checked on the beer before going to bed. Wasn't nothing happening at all. However, I aerated with oxygen. As far as I know, I did everything right. And sometimes you just have to trust the process. And in this case, trust the product. I'm looking forward to tasting what Imperial L18 Goat does with this beer. I have an empty keg, just waiting for it. Ask your local homebrew store about L18 Goat from Imperial Yeast and check out all the dependable deliciousness at imperialyeast.com. It's imperialyeast.com. Hope you all are enjoying these Mash Your Luck and recipe development shows as much as I am. I'm learning a lot. But let's see what Scott Housel came up with to meet his Mash Your Luck challenge. Scott Housel, welcome back to Basic Brewing Radio.
Great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been so long. This show is all about you, which I'm happy for. But we have two other people joining us. Adam Ross from Twin Span Brewing in Bettendorf, Iowa.
Hey, happy to be here.
And Chris Colby, author of The Homebrew Recipe Bible, Methods of Modern Homebrewing, and How to Make Hard Seltzer, which is what you're most proud of. Welcome.
Yeah, about that.
You did a good job. I mean, you joke about, hard seltzers, but it's a good book. It's well done. So, if people are interested in that, then they should get it. All three books are really good. So there you go. And
I wrote it in like a week or two. I forget, maybe what's that? It was quick though. They contacted me and they were like, we want a book on seltzer, and I'm like, when do you want it delivered? And they were like, yesterday. And so I said, well, I'll get it done. And it was it was a short write.
And one of my recipes is in the Homebrew Recipe Bible. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. But I brought it around. I said it was all about Scott, and I'm bringing it around to be all about me. So that's a par for the course.
That works for me.
We're here to taste a previous Mash Your Luck challenge for a Scott. And then Scott has volunteered to roll the dice, the virtual dice, once again to do another one. So I'm all excited. So should I remind everybody what the parameters were for your challenge, Scott?
Yes, please.
My notes say it was medium ABV, balanced bitterness, black, sour, from the world influence.
That's what I tried.
Oh, is that why he's in outer space?
Sort of. That's some foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah. Scott's got a Hubble Space Telescope looking background. So, well, I'm all excited. How did you approach this beer, Scott? Knowing those parameters, did something hit you right away with how you wanted to go?
Kind of. Can we? I don't know if you guys poured yours yet, but if we could pour them, and then I'll start talking.
Okay. This
and
the
make
label
sure
one?
you do a little. The Prairie Homebrew Companion.
It's a great label.
And then swirl the bottle a little bit. You want to pour everything.
Oh.
My main goal, I wanted to meet the parameters and pretty much just figure out how to meet the parameters. So my first thought was I'll find some kind of fruit. And I think Matt Giovanisi kind of did that with his, was use fruit to get the sourness.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that to my wife. And she said, "What's that pie that Garrison Keeler's always talking about?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Strawberry rhubarb pie?" And she said, "Yeah, why don't you do that?" And she's never had pie, and she's never had rhubarb.
She's never had pie?
Never had pie?
Nope. She will tell you she doesn't believe in cooked fruit.
Oh, interesting.
That's Melanie.
Okay.
So we did a little molasses, and she's never had molasses either.
Man, you'd get run out of town in the Midwest if you said you didn't believe in pie.
So,
sure, she's a lovely lady, but those are fighting words up here.
Yeah.
Has she got now? Your wife's name is Melanie, so does she have a brand new key lime pie?
No, she has never had a brand new key lime pie. But if you look at it, you guys were joking. I don't know if you can even see it right now. I can kind of see it.
Oh, it's sparkly.
It's sparkly. You guys were joking about glitter, so that was my idea.
I didn't stir mine up enough. I'm sure I'll get pure glitter in my...
oh, look at that.
Empty out the bottle.
And it settled out a lot. I never thought I would put glitter in a beer, but you guys made some jokes, and it just seemed too perfect to have a black beer with rhubarb and dark cherry also.
Ooh. I'm assuming this is food safe glitter.
Oh, yes, yeah, definitely, yeah.
My mouth's bleeding, Bert. My mouth's bleeding.
Well, I was drilling through some metal, and I got all this shrapnel. So
Scraped it off the stage at the nearest gentleman's club. No, it's a super dark beer. When I poured it, it's not quite black. It reminded me of a quad. Like it's got that super dark ruby, quite clear. I didn't swirl good enough. Like I said, I'm not getting glitter in this pour. Um, Beautiful, thick, moussey, dark head though. That's just not
Hmm.
going anywhere.
I've never had a glitter beer.
I don't. Oh, I have had one. I think it was called unicorn farts or something.
Okay, let's. It's too early to start talking about what we're tasting stuff. We don't know the recipe yet.
Okay. So we've got 4 pounds or 1.8 kilograms of floor malted Bohemian Pilsner.
How big of a
I went
batch?
with. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, this will be for 5 gallons.
Okay.
I did 6 gallons and split it, but I scaled it down for this. So that's 38%. So the Bohemian Pilsner was to be from the world. Then there is 1.5 pounds or 680 grams of Vienna malt. That's 14.5%. Same amount, 1.5 pounds of flaked wheat, 680 grams. 12 ounces of midnight wheat. That's where I got the black color from. That's about 7%. That's 340 grams. Put in 12 more ounces of Pilsner malt just for gravity. I did 12 ounces of rye malt. That's 340 grams. That's also 7%. And then I used some acidulated to get my pH down. And at flame out, I did 6 ounces or 170 grams of molasses.
Mm.
And then for the hops, I used Savinsky Golding. Is that Slovenian? I had to take some notes here.
I think so. I believe so.
Somewhere in
Yeah.
the world.
That's somewhere in the greater world. But that was 2.6% alpha acids. So 45 minutes was a little bit less than an ounce. And at 10 minutes, a little bit less than an ounce again. So it's about 25 grams. And then I used a tiny bit of gypsum just to get my water chemistry. And then the yeast that I used for this portion was called Jovaru. It's a Lithuanian farmhouse yeast from Omega.
Oh, interesting.
We're
So
all
that
over the
was,
world.
Yeah.
that's another way to get it from another part of the world.
So was that the souring? Did the yeast do the souring?
No. So I used the rhubarb. So I used at the end, I tried to put it in a couple different places. So I did 14 ounces. I could only find frozen rhubarb this time of year. So it's 14 ounces right at the end of the boil. And it was 10 ounces of dark cherry at the same time. And then I put that in a hop spider, and then I put that in the fermenter too.
So
just to get it started that way.
The cherry was real fruit?
No, the cherry was also frozen.
Oh,
I got it.
But it's real fruit,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
frozen dark cherry. Yeah. And and then then I split the batch, and I pitched Philly Sour into the other part that you'll try later.
Mm. Wow. So all the sourness, all the tartness is coming from the fruit.
Yes. And then let me see, where did the rest of the fruit come in? Was 48 ounces of rhubarb and 20 ounces of dark cherry. And this was into about 3 gallons. So I didn't scale that part. And that was at the end of fermentation.
48 ounces by weight. That's a lot of rhubarb.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so that had, when I added it, the pH was at 3.53 for that portion. Yeah. And then that dropped from there. Those notes are not right. Sorry.
We must have accuracy.
I'm sorry. It was 3.7 before I put in the rhubarb and the cherry, and it dropped to 3.54.
Oh, wow.
In pH. And then the Philly took a long time, but it ended at 3.52. So relatively close on the pH. Final gravities were both 1012, and original gravity was 1050.
So the Philly Sour one has less fruit?
It only has the flame out edition.
Okay. Ooh, that'll be
So
interesting.
after that, That's it. So that's kind of like almost like the base beer, but it didn't get mixed in at all. And glitter was added to taste. No, it was. It really does not take much at all. I was like, just use this tiny little spoon. But yeah, all the fruit was my wife's idea. She helped me out on brew day, which was really cool. And then at the end, she said she suddenly left the room, and then she said things got real serious, so I just left.
Oh,
But that was that was when it was coming to the end of the boil. So that's when I was doing a bunch of things at once, pulling fermenters out. And
were you ultra focused? Is that the deal?
I think so, yeah.
Well, the glitter stays in suspension for a long time. I mean, it hasn't settled at all, and it's a bunch of it.
I hear it's great for your kidneys.
Are we gonna be reminded tomorrow morning that we had this beer?
I have
What
not
did I do
seen
last
any
night?
evidence later. No, but you know, we'd all love to know.
It's like when you eat beets. The next day
Oh,
you're
man.
like, oh no, oh beets. Okay.
On that note, I get. It's funny. I tasted before you started the recipe, Scott, and I got a little bit of roastiness, like a burnt sugar, burnt really dark chocolate. I'm guessing that's more of the probably the midnight wheat and combined with the molasses. I'm getting that like very. I like to use molasses in a few beers. It does contribute flavor you can't get elsewhere. So I'm wondering if that isn't what's really sticking out there.
I wasn't getting the fruit at the beginning, but now that the fruity character's coming through more. It was more about just the tartness in the beginning, but now there's the tartness, and then there's a cherry. I'm not very familiar with rhubarb, so I don't know if it has like a flavor of its own or if it's all about the tartness. So Chris, what's rhubarb taste like?
Oh, it's hard to describe without using rhubarb in the it's got a distinct taste though. Like it's made into well, at least I've had it most of the times I've had it in a pie, and it definitely has a tartness to it, but there's also again, without using rhubarb, I don't know how to describe the flavor. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't taste like anything else or any combination of any other things. It tastes like rhubarb.
Yeah, I guess I've had it in a pie, but it's usually paired with something else, right? The strawberry or
Can be.
probably other flavors to kind of balance out the tartness. How did you say how you prepared the rhubarb?
The rhubarb, I went. Let's see. I thawed it when I put in the massive amount at the end. I thawed it and just poured it into the fermenter from there. But then I forgot I made some extract with vodka, and I added that because after a few days the rhubarb started to subside a little bit, and I liked how heavy the flavor was at the beginning. So I put in some of the rhubarb extract, and that's what you have in the little bottles.
Oh yeah, we've got these
So,
little.
which actually is really tasty as like a cordial, or just like if you want to smell or taste a little bit of that, that'll give you rhubarb right there.
Oh, I assume that was the antidote to whatever you poisoned us with.
Yeah, that will manipulate the glitter out.
You'll tell us how to open this after we give you our ATM numbers or something.
I was thinking of celery. So visually, it's like a reddish celery. It has kind of that texture. It can, but does not have that flavor. It's definitely pushing towards almost like a dessert vegetable. Like it's kind of straddles those two lines.
Huh.
I Googled it, and the only descriptions of the flavor are rhubarb are tart.
Oh.
There you
So they
go.
don't,
That's what
which
you get.
is, it's very tart, and the flavor it has, isn't super strong. I mean, it does have a flavor. It's not just like drinking, like citric acid or lactic acid or anything like that, or tasting it.
Kind of an earthy kind of a. I get drinking this tincture. I get the tartness, and then there's kind of an earthy kind of a thing that I wasn't expecting.
I think that's why it works so well with why it's paired up with strawberry so often is strawberry brings that really bright berry fruit character, and the rhubarb kind of grounds it back into being a little more mild or a little little earthy. Like I don't think you'd probably want to drink a strawberry rhubarb soda. That probably wouldn't quite work with that level of acidity, but it works in beers. It works here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I close my eyes, I see it as a dark red beer. If I was going to make it and try to turn it into something, might dial back the midnight wheat just into the red zone.
But the challenge was not red; it was black.
Well, exactly.
It's very dark, but I don't get a ton of roastiness out of it. And I think that's good because every time I've had a sour beer that had sour and roast in it, for some reason, I don't know if that's just me, but those don't seem to work well together. Like, you don't see a lot of sour stouts being brewed by anybody, and I think that's why. But yeah, no, this is good. It's a had a nice foam stand. Very dark color. I was surprised but I guess the molasses must have contributed to that because I thought, yeah, it was like 12 ounces of the dark grain, right?
Yeah, midnight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which would
yeah.
not get you this color depth alone. So the molasses must have contributed to that as well, and maybe a little bit the dark cherry.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm kind of a sour fiend, so it's not too sour for me. I like it. Yeah, I think balanced bitterness was another of it, right?
Yeah, we can do. Well, should we go through the list? We're talking around it.
Should you want to?
What was the ABV, Scott?
Well, I did your calculation for how much vodka I put in, so it ended up about 5.5%.
Okay, it's
So
medium.
it wasn't a ton. It was about 0.5% that the vodka contributed.
Yeah, I'd say medium ABV. I'd say that fits. Balanced bitterness. Are we saying it's a balanced bitterness?
Yes.
I'd say so. The hops are very, very light, which is, when he gets the sour beers, it tends to mute. To me, I think it tends to mute hop bitterness a little bit. But then again, there's a lot of people don't try to make it bitter and sour together. But yeah, this is nice and balanced.
It's definitely black.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely sour / tart. And you used ingredients from the world, and there's an intergalactic component as well with the glitter in there. So
Yeah, no Martian sourced ingredients to be found. That checks out.
all right. Well, I think it's delicious. I think you met the challenge, and we will come up with the numbers here to prove it, I think. So we checked all the check boxes on the judging thing. The first category is theme / originality with 5 points up for grabs. Chris, you want to go first? You didn't get to judge last time.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5. I mean, rhubarb, it's fruit wasn't specified, and it was, what else are you going to do? There could be more, I'd give that a 5 out of 5.
Adam?
You sure you want to ask me? Last time you did one of these, you said I was mean. I listened to your episodes, James.
Well, you were also here, so
No, it was the last one with Sean Terrell, and you said, "Well, we can't give it a." Steve asked if you could give it a perfect score, and you said, "Well, Adam Ross isn't here; he's mean." So you could give him a perfect score.
To be fair, I've said you're mean several times on the show, so catch up.
I to that point though, I'm gonna give Scott here a 5. I've had a few strawberry rhubarb beers. I've never had a dark strawberry rhubarb beer. I think I might actually have a New Glarus strawberry rhubarb.
Of course, this is a cherry rhubarb beer.
That's right. Yes, I've never had a cherry rhubarb at all. So there you go. And bonus point.
Yeah.
Give him a 6.
Yes. That does not sound like a mean person.
Oh my
Take
God.
away one of James's points and give it to Scott.
No, I say 5 as well. Appearance up to 3. I'm going to say I would give a bonus point here because I've never had a glitter beer, Just as a standard beer without the glitter, it looks great. The foam was great. The color is what we were looking for. But then the glitter, it's still hanging around. So out of 3, I'm going to give it a 4. How about that?
Oh, I love this.
Chris, out of 3, appearance.
I'd give it 3 out of 3. I mean, it's jet black. I mean, nice color, and I mean, I'm a foam, an appreciator of foam, and it poured with a nice head.
Adam?
Yeah, this is excellent foam stand that I'm mostly through the beer and it's still standing. So,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be mean. I want to take away because of the glitter because I don't think glitter belongs in beer. But as long as you don't do it again, Scott, you can have all 3 points.
I will endeavor.
And if you do it again, I will drive down to Florida and take back the points.
The rest of the glitter so I don't use it again. Yeah.
Aroma, 1 to 5. Adam, you go first.
So if you handed this to me and said this is a cherry rhubarb beer, I'm not getting a lot of cherry. I'm getting a little kind of berry. I think that's why I kept misspeaking and saying strawberry. I can't pick out rhubarb necessarily. That's really tough to do, so that's no fault of your own. But I think the molasses and the midnight wheat are a little too strong here. Before you read any of the ingredients, I thought this was going to almost be like a stout or a porter. It was just a little too much there. Out of 5 points, I'll give you 3.
Oh, okay.
Mean
Chris?
Street come back.
So very, very mean.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I'd go 4 out of 5. It's good. The aroma smells. Yeah, the aroma's good. For me, there's nothing. A 4 for me would be a good score out of 5. It's just for me, the aroma is sort of mostly focused on the sour, rhubarb or whatever. And if there was a little more of the other stuff, that would be good. But I mean, for me, 4 out of 5, that's not a you've done something wrong. That's this is good, just not perfect. given what I would want, not what.
That's what it's all about. Well, I think I like the smell of it. I do get kind of a roasty character in it now. In the beginning, I was getting more of a tartness kind of a thing going on, but yeah, I would expect to, optimum wise, I would expect to smell some cherries, and I'm not smelling the cherries. So for that one thing, I would say 4 out of 5. Flavor, 10 points up for grab. Chris, go first.
I'd go 7.5. This is good beer. I mean, I would, if I was at a party and there was a keg of this and I had some, I would return to this keg and have some more.
Adam.
Yeah, I agree with Chris's sentiment that if this were at a party, I'd definitely keep returning to this one. Since this is kind of its own style, its own thing, it keeps coming up to me as almost like a quad, and I absolutely love quads, but I know it's not that strong. I'm going to give this an 8. I still want more. What's keeping me from scoring it higher is I want more cherry, I want more rhubarb, assuming that's how you're presenting this. But it's a tasty beer.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. I think 8's a good. Again, if in my ideal universe, I would want to taste a little more cherry, but that's just my expectations, and that's what it's all about. But this is a delicious beer, and I'm going to share the second one with Susan, and I think this is the kind of beer that she would like because she likes dark beers, and I don't think this is too tart for her. She doesn't like really sour beers, but I think she would like this one. Finish, 2 points possible. I give 2. I think it's great.
Yeah, 2.
Two's all around. Okay, so I think my
You get
score.
a 2, and you get a 2, and you get a 2. Everyone gets a 2.
Look under your chairs. Two's all around.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. If there's a 2 under your chair, it'd be a little worried.
now you're making the poop jokes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If my math is right, I think out of 25, I think mine is 22. I think Adam's is also 20. Wait a minute. Is the 20? Yeah. 22. I think, and I think Chris is 24. 25 minus 1 is 24. Okay, yours is, I think, is 21 and a half.
So I'm the meanie now.
Maybe, yeah. I think that's a really good score. I'm not keeping a record or an average or whatever of all the ones that we've done, but I think that's really good.
It is good.
I'm no Sean Terrell, you know.
You should never
Perfect score, Sean Terrell.
And Steve's not here, so
where's Steve? I want a better score.
I pick your judges. So should
Scott,
we?
in your defense, I don't think a beer should ever get a perfect score. A perfect beer, perfect beer does not exist. You can come pretty darn close. I'm of the camp that I don't think I would ever give out a 50 on PJCP, and I hope I don't give out a 25 here.
Should we swirl up the second beer? Let's try this.
You don't need to swirl that one. There are no
no glitter in that one.
weird adjuncts.
Thank God.
Oh, I finished up the glitter. I take back my 2 points on the finish.
Oh, the final finish. Terrible.
Coughing up glitter.
There's a cloud of glitter dust. Okay, we got the 2 beers. Now remind us again what the difference is on the second one.
This one does not have, it barely has cherry and rhubarb. I wouldn't say it because then I would lose points.
And then the souring came from the yeast.
Yes, exactly, from Philly Sour.
This one I get more roast in.
Yeah, this is a lot less fun. It's the glitter.
So there was I still attend the local homebrew club when I can around here, and they had a porter competition recently, and there's quite a spread of different types of porters. I think this would have fit in up there. Like it's roasty enough that if you had claimed it was some English brown porter or something like that, then I would say, okay, yeah.
And there's like allegedly Guinness does some souring in their process or something to give a little tartness to their beer. Not that that's a porter, but
Pretty good. I like this one too. It's a different beer without the sourness, or with a different level and type of sourness. But
yeah, I wish I'd tasted this one first to see, because I'm not sure how much my tongue is numbed by the sourness of the first one, because the first one is pretty tart. But I'm not getting, it's not as tart as the first one, but maybe it's equally as tart as the first one. You know what I'm saying? You said pH wise they were about the same, right, Scott?
Yes.
So at least this is not noticeably perceptibly more tart than the first one.
And you said this was Philly and it took a while to finish?
Yeah. It was about 12 days or so.
Wow.
Till I was confident.
Yeah, the one time I used Philly, that was 4 days for it to get started, and I went above the a normal ale pitch rate.
Well, I like it. I think it's not as fun as the first one, but it's a solid beer, and I would have another one if I were drinking more than. It's the beer to have when you're having more than one.
it's the glitter and a lot more.
Theoretically, we should try to put some of the tincture, rhubarb tincture, in the second beer to see the effect. But I kind of like the beer as it is.
No, I just liked it so much. I actually made more rhubarb extract just to have around for to sip.
Oh.
And just for I could put it in a beer if I want to, but
Yeah.
It's I thought it was really tasty, so I sent you some.
Yeah.
Plus, I had those cool little bottles.
Yeah, thank you.
I had to do something with them.
Perfume bottles.
Yeah. It says liqueur on them.
Yeah,
What's
I think it was Saint Germain,
Yes.
or however you would say that. I
Saint-Germain,
think
yeah.
that's what came in there.
Fancy.
Not Chris's. I think Chris got a
Mayonnaise jar.
different shape.
He
It's like a vial. Yeah.
got a mayonnaise
Chris
jar.
got a Ziploc bag.
Well, are you ready to roll for the next one?
Absolutely.
We've got okay. If you're not familiar with the mash your luck concept, maybe I should have explained it up front, but I didn't. So the mash your luck thing is we have categories: ABV, bitterness, color, type, and origin. And
And
each
glitter. No.
one, huh?
And glitter. No.
And glitter, yeah. So each one has varying numbers of components in each, or choices in each one. The first one is ABV. We have very low, low, medium, high, and very high. So are you rooting for anything this time, Scott?
Rooting for a good time. That's about it. That's,
Well, sorry.
maybe nothing from the extreme ends, but that makes it fun too.
Okay, here we go. 5. Ooh, very high ABV.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay, I gotta go.
Which we define as above 12, right?
That's
That makes sense to me.
Wow.
This
Very
is the,
high.
I don't have the cards nearby, but the Cicerone cards is how we originally defined it, at least. And 5 puts you north of 12.
Okay, so we're off to a roaring start here.
Auspicious start.
Okay, bitterness is also 5, low to mid, balanced, high, and very high. Here we go. Ooh, 4, high bitterness.
All right.
Okay, all right. So this is a big bitter beer. Color, we have pale, gold, amber, brown, black, and red. Now we've had black has been the one that has come up more than anything else, I think. Let's see. Okay, here we go. 3. So we have amber.
Ooh.
Ember. The lovely and talented Ember.
Watch out for the glitter. Amber.
Please welcome to the stage, Ember.
Okay, now we have type: lager, ale, and sour. Lager, ale, and sour. Here we go. Oh, it's sour again.
Wow.
We keep
Ooh.
Yikes.
coming up with sour. Remember, you have a joker where you can re-roll any category. Okay, now we have origin. We have U.S., Germany, UK, Belgium, Australasia, Scandinavia, world, and fantasy/sci-fi.
I think you have to be fantasy, because I don't think anyone in the world makes this combination of parameters.
Okay, yeah.
Take the Joker on sour, and
Yeah, that's what
Then
I'm
you're-
learning so far.
then
I
you're,
don't know.
barley wine or strong ale or,
Okay, here
double IPA.
here we go. It ain't over yet. Hold on. Oh, number 1, U.S. So you got an easy one. Okay, so I'm assuming you want to re-roll the type.
Yeah, I have to.
Now, I think was it Madge Easy got sour twice in a row? So is the rule that you can't get sour again, or if you re-roll and you get the same one again, that's it. That's too bad.
I think you should be able to not, especially since you're going to actually brew a beer based on this. It's don't waste the time brewing a sour barley wine.
Very bitter too.
Adam, what do you think?
I mean, I think when we first did this, James, it was a case of it wouldn't come back up, but I know it has come back up, like you said with Matt.
Yeah.
So is Matt going to be sore that we changed rules?
We'll
And do we
send
care how Matt feels? I don't know.
We'll send him some beer.
Yeah.
None of us want to drink a very bitter, high alcohol sour.
We'll send him all the beer if it's the sour. Okay, so we're being nice. This is the nice show. We're down to between lager and ale. Okay, here we go. Ale.
Okay.
There you go.
You lucked out.
Yeah, barley wine, double IPA, something like that.
Ooh.
So very high ABV, high bitterness, amber. Oh wait, I got to cross out sour. Ale from the U.S. So what does that sound like, Chris, author of the Homebrew Recipe Bible? What is that?
Sounds like a barley wine or a double IPA or some, some variant on that. Any of those would be great.
American Strong Ale, I think that actually slides right into that definition.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Scott?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I've been looking to make something kind of bitter lately because I've been shying away from it. But the very high alcohol will be the challenge. And yeah, definitely sounds good as hoppy and barley winey.
Yeah. Would Bigfoot barley wine fit in this category?
It's not big enough.
Not big enough. Oof.
What is Bigfoot? 10%?
Mm-hmm. 10.
So make a Sasquatch. Just a bigger.
Extra Bigfoot.
Father of Bigfoot.
Wow.
Scott, you can do it.
Yes.
I've never had a bad beer from you, and I wanna taste a beer that you make that you end up at like 15% alcohol. Go above and beyond.
Yeah, on the lines of Bigfoot, it should be big and chewy.
Oof. I wouldn't shoot for 15%. I'd go for like just over 12.
Yeah.
Just get it into the category. But it just fermentations get harder and harder the more you go up in alcohol. And I just make a yeast starter like 20% bigger than you would think you would need. Get it some, Chico yeast, any of those things would do great. Or, I don't know, even, well, it's US. Okay. So there's a lot like Nottingham would do really good, but that's English. Just some yeast that's high in attenuation, because with that much malt, you're going to want to, and like, unless you want it to, it doesn't really specify if it's supposed to be like sweet or chewy. But yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of dry beers, but then I'm not brewing it. So
I think Scott is not governed by the TTB. So if he wanted to goose the numbers by adding a spirit, I think that's allowed. Here too.
Or freeze concentration.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
One tip that I did on the Dark World beer is I brewed, that Pilsner, the starter Pilsner, and put the big beer on top of it and put on top of the yeast cake. And it took off like a rocket. So,
that's a good idea. Yeah. Make like a British bitter, bottle it, and then use that yeast cake. Yeah. With American, so what, American interpret it, and then use that yeast cake for the if you're doing 5 gallons, use that for the.
Yeah.
There aren't any American yeasts that are more diastatic. Is that the correct term? Like Belgian yeast will dry out a lot further because
attenuative,
ferment out more attenuative. Maybe there is. I think there might be some. I would look West Coast. I know there's some variants on Chico, some close cousins to Chico that might go a little bit further.
I've gotten US05 to go over 12% in my small batch fruitcake barley wines.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, Yeah, the Chico strain, any of those will definitely handle 12%.
And there was a lot of very fermentable sugar in that. Between the molasses, what did I use? Molasses and candied fruits and all that. So it
San
did pretty well.
Diego Super Strain. That's there's a highly fermenting, high ABV. I think White Labs makes one. That would be fun to try here. I know they're not one of your sponsors, James, but I don't know if Imperial has an equivalent.
At
There's
least,
also, I mean, if you do want to make it something closer to 15, like I mean, if you really want to goose it, you can try feeding the fermentation, like formulate the beer as like 11 or 12%, get it fermented close to the end, and just have like either a malt. I mean, you could use malt extract. You could run some wort off and boil it down and condense it, or you could just add sugar, which if you're trying to get to those higher levels, it's going to help you without adding a ton of body, and just feed the fermentation at the end with sugar, and that works to a point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sugar
I
and
think
more O2
I think
halfway through the ferment. Add some O2 as well.
Hmm. What's the biggest beer you've ever brewed, ABV wise, Scott?
I think I got to 12 with the stout one time, but that was only one time. Other than that, I don't think I've gone over 9 really.
It's kind of a specialty beer that, it's not something you should want to have on tap. Have a 13% beer on tap. It's a little impracticable.
Is it bad for me to say that we have a 13.7 in barrels right now? So
Wow.
the barrels are pretty wet. So I'm expecting 15 plus when they're coming out.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I was thinking about your American, wait, what is that? The ale, the Anglo Imperial Lager the other day, because I thought it tasted like a Ukrainian beer I had, and I found a stout by that Ukrainian company. But turns out I'm pretty sure they bottled that other beer I was talking about into the stout bottle. It was like barely amber and it was strong. It was not 6%. I swear it was the wrong beer in that bottle. I know it was. And I think I know which one it was. And it was a strong lager. I think it was about 11%.
Well, you lucked out this isn't a lager, so you lucked out there.
Yeah.
It's an ale,
Yeah.
which makes your life easier, especially being in Florida. So I think it's a good combination, and I'm sure that there are commercial examples of beers out there that fit this, and I wish you luck. Maybe mash your luck.
Can't wait to try it.
Yes, very excited.
Yeah.
seriously, yum.
Let's do it later in the day, though, because high boozy beer, middle of the day like we're doing right now would be. I'm not going to get a whole lot done afterwards.
Yeah. This will be a 9 p.m. recording.
There you go.
It's my bedtime.
Yeah, right before my bedtime.
All right, guys. Anything else for the cause?
Adam is not mean. That's for the
that's nice of
The
you,
cause
but
is the defense of Adam.
I most certainly am mean, but thank you.
How you speak your mind. I'll give you that.
If you subscribe to Symergy, I've got an article coming out in the next issue
Oh, nice.
on the origin of lager yeast.
Oh, fantastic. I
excellent.
do read that.
And Adam, what beers are coming up at Twinspan Brewing in Bettendorf, Iowa?
Yeah, speaking of big beers, we just had our first triple IPA, almost 12% or almost 11% alcohol. We had a strong Scotch ale that's almost 9 that just came out.
Ooh.
Got a double coming out. A lot of dark beers, maybe too many, because it turns out we were kind of just skipping past winter up here this year. So I'm starting to think about Irish St. Patrick's Day now. Backing off the gas a little bit.
Well, send us some, please.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Please.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. This is a lot of fun. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks.
Many thanks to Scott, Adam, and Chris. I'm really looking forward to tasting what Scott comes up with, his big hoppy ale. I have ultimate confidence that it will be amazing. If you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Check out our mobile-friendly shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. So until next time, till then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dotson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. In the meantime, stay well and stay tuned. So long.